Welcome back to part two of Parenting Without Parents with Dr. Justin Grimes.
Yeah, there's so much in there. It sounds your mom was a real one. She said, "Don't you keep my house, you sell it." And she
Yeah.
gave you some sage advice. Pray and wait 24 hours.
Mhm.
And as you're speaking about this and like how close you're describing the relationship with your mom, I also think that God taking them home is an invitation for you to get closer with Him, for you to call Him. Those times where you
Mm,
would call mom,
yeah.
talking to God.
Yeah.
As much as that, I don't know how that sounds to people. I'll say that, but like he does things like that. He wants it to be how he wants it to be, and even with the clear direction to sell the house, that made room for another family to build a legacy.
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
I'm curious, like the way my mind works and how I'm seeing like how God does things, what comes from you being obedient with that sale and then that family, what stability, who's coming, who and what is gonna come out of that household?
I'm listen, I'm sorry, 'cause I grew up in a black neighborhood, but the people who are currently in my parents' house are white, and it's very different,
Yeah,
and my neighbors are like, "Oh, they changed this," but even the previous person just didn't manage the house in the same way, and I was like,
of
"I
course
know this
not.
is why it was intended for me to sell it, because if I came back," and I always tell people, "If I came back and saw this destroyed, I don't know how
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
gonna be a
respond."
problem.
And
Huh?
so, yes, I received that what you're sharing because I do think that one of the things that I have been able to do is be obedient to what they said they wanted me to do, not straying away from that. And it taught me a discipline in a different way. It taught me how to manage things that are very big and make them smaller.
Okay.
We as an only child, I was my parents bought the house in 1982. And I sold the
That was a
house in
good year.
2021. So from 1982 to 2021, there's just stuff, right? There's stuff that I had to be comfortable with saying, okay, just let that go. What are the things
Yeah,
I can't bring this whole house to my new house? I gotta take what matters the most to me and say, this is what I care about. And I still have moments like, oh, I should have grabbed that. Why didn't I get this thing? Why did I give that away? And then as I was selling the house, best friend who's in real estate was my realtor to manage it. And I was like, do what you feel. I don't feel like really seeing updates. Just show me the final piece of it. And so I got to
yeah.
see it, but I never forget the day. It was December of 2020. No, we sold in 2022. So it was December or somewhere. I remember that December when we went back and then got a moving company to move the stuff I needed to come to Virginia. And I distinctly remember seeing my room empty. And I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa. I've never seen this before. My mom has because she's done different things to the house, but I've never seen these spaces empty. I've never seen this kitchen without this table here.
Mm,
But now I have to see it in that way. But what I take from that was these are memories and great things, but they're just things, Justin. You can take the
things.
memories, you can even take some of the pieces, but more importantly, just take who they were, what they stood
Yeah.
for, what values they instilled in you. Take the relationships with the people here. You're still from the same city, so nothing's gonna change there. But what will change is that you get to live the life that you want to live, and you don't have what could be the strain of like navigating who house we going to for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I don't have to. Okay, how is this arrangement going to work? Because my dad's in a wheelchair. How I don't have to take him to dialysis. And some people may be like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to," and I'm okay with that though. I'm okay with that. Where you what God decided for your life freed and opened me up to some new things And I
Yeah.
don't see that as like, "Oh my gosh, I would have been so burdened." No, I see it as he knew, "I literally am about to prepare you to be a parent, and so I need you to have full openness, authority, but more importantly, trust in me." And so by holding them, you potentially could be trying to spend your time between multiple things. And I need your priority to be me first, these people who you you live with second, and everything else.
Justin, that's so good. There's so many things in there. Like, because that's God will reprioritize things for you.
Mhm.
He absolutely will. And I think that's a great segue to this next question about how and where have you seen him fill in gaps for you, right?
Mhm.
Providing that wisdom, that comfort, guidance, like as you parent without parents, but you have a heavenly parent. How
Mhm.
has that been?
Well, the relationship I cherish the most now is the one with my aunt. My aunt lived probably 10 minutes away from me. And so now we talk every Sunday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
This started, just casually checking in on me to like, this is our time. And it's beautiful because we get to know each other in different ways. Again, I had a lot of aunts and uncles, so I didn't get to have that relationship with all of them in a deep way. I'm still loved by all of them and love them, but this is different. This is, there were two who lived with me in Little Rock. And so that
Uh-huh.
I cherish that. I'm like, unless something is really going on, I'm answering that phone, you know, or I'm calling her back. And so, God has made room for me to be able to be this. That's her sister. So, and probably and her best friend. So, like, I now get to fill this gap for her. If it's just 30 minutes or an hour, that's 30 minutes to an hour where she gets to experience my mother
Yeah.
and experience me and just feel loved and cared for and all these things. And so it's it's a beautiful thing to have that. Um,
Yeah.
so that is how God has shown up in one way is through my aunt. Um, Definitely through my child because I've always wanted to be a parent, and I get to experience that what they did, I get to be like, "Oh, okay, I can see where I probably caused some havoc here," and I get to experience all of those things. I get to experience the way God shows up is through the joy that she brings. Like when people see her or talk about her or watch a video, it's never like, oh my God, his child. It's just, it's joy. And so God brings joy into my life in that way. Um, I th I think my prayers are a lot more thoughtful, a lot more intentional, a lot more direct with where I'm at. They're a lot more transparent, and so I think that loss has prompted that. It's also prompted me to just have times with people where I say, "I love you. Hey,
Yeah.
I see something happening with you. What's going on with this person? Or what's actually going on with you?" I don't just stop at the, like, random hello, like, I care about the communication
Yeah.
because we just don't know. And when you watch a person and probably the other thing was really special when my child was, like, probably, like, 8, 9 months and I'm changing her diaper, it was challenging at times because and God had to work with me through that because I had to do that for my mom. My
Uh-huh.
so even now, sometimes my child might she might pee in the bed, and I'm like, "Ah," but then I think about the moments where my mom couldn't control her body, and the exact same thing. So I'm literally seeing full circle, from young to old, how this works in each of these moments. I feel like God is like, "So, are you going to just trust me? Are you going to just operate in a different zone, in a different space? Can you choose can you be frustrated but also show peace? Like, how can you allow all these things to happen at the same time while also giving me the glory? And the last thing that I do, every prayer that we have is of my child at nighttime is we go through all the people who are not here.
Mm.
So I say to her, like, tell Grandma Ed and tell Grandma Linda and Grandpa Albert and my sister Jordan, good night, because it's important to me that she
You about to make me cry, Justin. Mm,
it's for me, it's important for her to know them. And
yes.
she won't know them like I knew them, but I at least want her to know that they were important to me and that
Yeah.
they lived a life that she gets to have the life she has because of the direct result of these people.
Yeah.
And so I don't want their memory to end. So it's fun to me because if I don't do it, she's like, we didn't say goodnight to them. And so even when she prays, she says it. So that will always be with her, these people.
Yeah. Oh, Justin, you got the eyes welling up over here.
Yeah.
That's it's so beautiful. Like what God is about to do through Jalen and even the way that he's showing you to parent her and the things you're pouring into her, world, get ready.
I said the
Jalen
same thing.
Grimes, Jalen Grimes is coming.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I don't know what it is, but I just know that whatever it is gonna be truly special. And I see some people, oh, my kid is this and that, and I don't have the expectations of her to be me or my wife. Like people are like, well, y'all got
Right.
PhDs. Do you expect her to no. You whatever path you choose is the one that God already set forth when you were born. And my job is just
Before
to be
you
a
were
support
born.
to that, right?
Yep.
And so, but I could just tell from her energy that like she is the confidence that I wish I had earlier. She is the brilliance of my wife. She is the caringness of my mother-in-law and father-in-law. She is the excited person to bake cookies or make things that my dad would do. But and she's them. So I get to see it all and I'm like, wow. I don't know what's coming next, but I'm excited to see it. She gets experiences that I got later on in life. You're getting it now.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to set precedents for her. Like you can have this. Like, and when we do fly home, I fly first class with her because I just want her to know that this is an option. I don't do that normally when I'm flying for work or business. No, I'm gonna be back here in the back with the rest of y'all. But for her and my wife, I want them to have this experience that they know like this is your right to have this. And I work and do what I do so that you can have this.
Mm.
And if I didn't and your grandparents were alive, they would be mad at me for not creating a first class experience for you. And it's not just there, it's just in life in general. I'm creating the first class experience that I want you to have in life because you deserve it.
Listen, God, whenever you're ready, please send me my first class husband. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, that is beautiful and that's how it should be. And I love how you are normalizing these things for her. You're preparing her for this life, whatever these things are that God has for her, the spaces that she's going to have to go into, the
Mhm.
purpose that he created her for her assignment. And I think that's so dope. I don't have any children, have always wanted children, but I think that's the real dope part. When you are a parent that's aligned with God, you understand that that's really not your child,
No.
but
Mm-mm.
you are on God's assignment for what he has for her. And I
Every day.
love that. Like, I have so much more I always have had respect for you, but I have that much more respect for you for how you are fathering and husbanding. I think I just made that word
Yeah.
up, but
I just
I
want it to be
really do.
different. And not
Yeah,
that what I had was bad. I didn't have a
yeah.
bad role models. I had a loving mother and father. And we had our agreements, we had our spaces where we disagree. But at the core, I knew they always loved me and they were going to do any and everything. And it's evident by how organized they were. with planning their time for when they weren't being here, that tells me their awareness of how they chose to live life, knowing that
Yeah.
at some point they're not gonna be here. And then to say, "This is what I need you to do," with things. And I'm real intentional. Like, like, even to the point to where my one of the biggest things I want to do was establish a trust, because my parents did that for me, and I'm like, "No, this child is coming," so I got our trust documents and stuff done 3 weeks before she came
Yeah.
to the earth. So because I'm like, "I don't want you to have any financial worry or burden, because
That's so
this is what
beautiful.
I got as a result," right? Like, I sold this house, so I put this money back so that you can live a great life when I'm not here or later on. So you won't have any type of financial strain or stress. Like, to me, it's like, what good would it be to receive any inheritance or property or anything and waste it away, right? Like, that's very biblical, right? Like, we know the son who went off and just wasted his riches. That's not at all what I do. If anything, sometimes my wife be like, "Go ahead and buy that. You act like you don't got it." So it's like I
Yeah.
have to, but I try to be a good steward of what I've been blessed
Yeah.
with, and to set her up for success. I think that's my primary one of my responsibilities is to make it so that if you want and God says yes, then
Yeah.
all I gotta do is just do what he says and we go forward.
And Justin, another I don't remember exactly where the scripture is. It's in the Old Testament, but when it says that grandparents make sure that there's things for inheritance for future generations. And so that's what your parents were able to do through their house and you being a good steward, able to put that into trust for Jalen, like to just keep this it's like an intergenerational thing that's happening. You're
Mhm.
normalizing this.
Yeah. And my
I
mom
can't
was
wait.
I mean,
I
we had
can't
those
wait for Jalen
conversations.
to grow up. I can't wait to see this.
But we had those conversations, when we were expecting the first child, that allowed us to enter into a new space of conversation about preparing to be a parent, and things that she was organizing on the back end to ensure that, like, this child would have what they need in inheritance and these things. And so it was like, wow, again, the thoughtfulness. And so that is what I was raised with. So I'm going
Yeah.
to carry that forward.
And Justin, I also hear how your parents broke a common cycle that we see where
Mhm,
it is us caring for the previous generation and
mhm,
having to use our resources for them because they weren't prepared versus them it's going down, it's moving downward and not backwards, or it's going forward and not backwards, right? The
mhm.
resources are going back to taking care of that. And you didn't have to have that experience.
No, I could have been like that man in the Bible and just went off. It just was like, "Oh, I sold this house. I can do whatever I want with this money." No, no, no. I don't know. And part of that is because I don't see it as mine. I see this as this is theirs, and, like, I seek approval even through this day. My prayers are like, "Here's what I'm thinking," I try to be a good steward of what they were giving me, because I don't see things as mine. I see it as theirs, and it's imperative for me that I do right by what was given to me and create this generation of or really legacy of being able to have, and not only just have, but to understand what to do with what you have. So
Yeah.
that it's just not me, sitting on money or sitting on knowledge or education. It is passing that along. So I am intentional with, like, make sure you get that trust created. Don't just get the will. Also figure out your power of attorney. It's gonna probably cost this amount of money. Start putting money back. I try to encourage these things in my friends so that they don't wait. So they're not scrambling to be like, I don't know what we gonna do, because I just know that inevitable. We gonna pass from here, and I think
Yeah, we are.
I don't want to burden anyone with now what happened and what we supposed to do and what is where. No, everything is already outlined. All people know who's in charge of what and what they're supposed to do, and that's part of, like, even though I'm parenting without parents, I am able to reflect on what they did and say, here's how I can take that forward. I don't have to know all the detail of what was set up. Growing up, my parents always told me we were broke. We don't got nothing. But I understand now, like, oh, okay, this is what you were planning,
Right.
to make things better.
Yeah. I'm hearing another business in this for you
Mhm.
to really help people get things settled together for when that time comes so
Yes.
that yeah, because your mom modeled it for you and you're already having the conversations and people don't even know where to start with it. So
No.
I don't know. I
I hear
hear
it.
I hear it. I hear the dollar signs, and that is also going to help so many generations navigate a awful time. Because I'm imagining there's any number of people listening to this who know someone who once you know, they transitioned, they didn't have it, the family's scrambling, trying to raise money, do all these things, or trying to sort through paperwork where people really and truly avoid,
Yes.
aren't prepared. No one's or they try to do it, and then the loved one is like, "Y'all figure it out when the time comes."
I
Huh?
don't wish that on people. Then people
Yeah.
arguing over stuff. Well,
And then yep.
grandma said I could have that purse or this jewelry. No, no, no. What's in the documents? That's what's gonna happen. It just makes to me things much easier. And that it might be because I'm an only child, so I don't have to argue with nobody.
That's true too, but that's still a lot when you see that happen or
Mhm.
hear the stories about it or even just how it's depicted in movies, right?
Yeah.
And I just love to hear, Justin, how you're really truly honoring their legacy and building and maintaining legacy through
Mhm.
the way that you are parenting Jalen.
Yeah.
You and Tamika are parenting Jalen. So, what are maybe some grounding scriptures that have anchored you through the grief process as well as the parenting process?
I would probably say my favorite is First Peter. First Peter 5:7. Cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. I feel like that is the one because
That's
as a parent,
good.
I'm anxious all the time. There's always something popping up. And even through the grief process is it can bring a lot of anxiousness for a person, uncertainty, frustrations, and anger, but you don't have to carry all of that. It's not meant for you to carry all of that. You should bring it forward and allow God to be the one to provide you with that outlet in that space. Allow him to
Yeah.
bring you the supports and the resources that you need. But the key part of that is the beginning, which he says, cast all, right? Like it's not, okay, here's this one thing I'm thinking about. No, like I don't know how I'm gonna make this decision. Should we go do this thing? Is this the right thing? Okay, so I'm celebrating another birthday without my mom. Like, again, why did you make this decision? Bring all of it. You just can't decide. I think God requires us to be the best versions of ourselves. I think it requires us to be the most open to Him. And when
Yeah.
we are holding back, me personally, I just feel like He's blessing us, but there's some more stuff He want to give us, but He don't give it because you won't cast it all. And so it don't matter what it is. Like I have
Ooh.
big prayers, I have specific prayers. But like God, I want to go do this speaking opportunity here. But to do that, I gotta pay this much money. This how much I need. Or I'm thinking about getting this for my child. I can do it, but if it's supposed to happen, make this happen. But make it, I'm very specific. And his
Yeah.
answer in the specificity of which I show up and ask questions, or he'll just surprise me,
Yeah.
with things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. And then he'd be like, oh, that's it. Boom.
I always say God can only bless us as big as our faith, as big
Mhm.
as our belief. For
Mhm.
sure. I love how you're saying, like, the specificity, and listen, you just gave me I was like, "Yep, Imma sit down, be doing the math, like, okay, God, this what we need." 'Cause
I
I'll
am
just say it,
for
I'll
it.
be like, "You know what it take." I don't necessarily get into the numbers, but, like, "God, you know what I'm asking for. You
I'm
know
Imma
what's
give you
here
a
and what's
great
not."
example. Yeah, and Imma give you a great example of this. When we were getting our first home together in Virginia, we had been looking through homes during the pandemic in between being in Arkansas for cancer treatments, all these things, North Carolina, and we finally got to a home that we liked. I remember we were in North Carolina, and I think I was still and I was in Virginia, my wife was spending the weekend with her mom. Our realtor called and said, "There's this house available. It's gonna probably be a lot of people coming. The open house is this time. Can I put you in this slot? I know you're dealing with a lot, but can you come?" We said, "Okay, cool." So my wife came back, um, and picked me up, and then we went to the house. No, we were both in North Carolina or something to that effect. We went to
Yeah,
the house. I said, "I think this is it." And so she said, "I need you to write a letter to this person."
yep.
And why we write a letter? She was like,
Those
"Everybody's gonna
letters
throw in a competitive letter." But in that letter, we just explained exactly what we were dealing with. And we were blessed to get that house. And the last thing I told my mother-in-law before she passed, like this is like minutes before she passed, I said, "Mom, we got the house." And she turned
yeah.
her head to me and she blinked, which to me was the indicator of confirmation.
Mm,
But again, God, if this is the house, this is what they're asking, this is what I'm gonna say. If this is not the thing to say, change it. Show me what needs
yes.
to be said. If this is what you want us to have, then as our first home together as a married couple to raise a child in, that's where Jalen was born, then I believe this is it. But if you say no, it's okay. We're gonna keep looking and seeing what happens.
We
And
only
boom,
want what
it
you
happened.
want for us.
Just like that. But again, I even after that, the anxious feeling like, "Is oh, this is a big payment. This is a how much? Okay, we gon' can we do this?" And he's like, "You so you need confirmation. Imma
Yeah.
give it to you." In this difficult moment where your wife is losing her mother, I'm gonna use her one last time to give you confirmation.
God is so good and intentional. Man, Justin, that's so good. I appreciate you sharing that testimony because some people, because they've not asked, they're
Mhm.
not asking, seeking, knocking, any of those things, they don't understand the goodness of God yet,
Yeah,
or
it's
just
important to
how
ask.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what
And
probably be important for people to hear too is that, even after Jalen was born, 2 and probably 2 months after she was born, I quit my job and went full into business. Like, if that's a faith walk, and I'm always very clear, "God, okay, if this is supposed to happen, just get me to December. If it's not gonna happen, then in October, let me know so I can start the process of looking for new jobs." And he's like,
yeah,
"Cool." And that was April of 2022. I have not had to go back and look for a job since because
praise
of
God.
praying and constantly being like, "All right, now this is a check-in. If it's not supposed to happen, go ahead, let me get back in here, work in the student affairs, academic affairs, or something." And he's like, "How much do you need?" "Okay, I need this amount." "Cool. Go here, speak here, go do this here, sell this here, and you'll be fine."
Justin, the Holy Spirit is stirring up in me. Like you don't even know that God using you right now to talk
Mm,
to me.
yeah.
'Cause I have been obedient, been only working for God, not quite a whole year, but the majority of it. Like, he took me out of a whole other job and was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
He don't
That's
even let
exactly
me
what he's
clock and track how much money coming in. Cause I used to like to watch the money go up, like, after each,
Mhm.
the insurance payments coming through, co-pays. God said, "Turn it off." This was maybe in, like, March.
Wow.
I feel like, I don't know, but God, okay, you told me to turn it off. I don't even know. And some of these insurance companies, they still send paper checks. I'd be like, "I don't even know what's in the
Mhm.
envelope, but God, you know, hey, you eh, Dad,
'Cause to tell
help."
somebody, you know, to tell someone to have a conversation with my wife and said, if they say the right thing on the right day, which means if you say the wrong thing on the wrong day, Imma quit this job. And I came back
Yeah,
from maternity leave, and I knew it was just not the right job. Money was great. It was a easy I mean, I coulda just coasted that if I really wanted to, but I just like, "This is not it," and they said that thing, and I said, "I'm finna quit, but I'm finna go all in on this business thing." But before I did that, I had a plan. I was like, "Now let me map out the plan. Here's the plan.
'cause
Here's how
the
much I got
grind's
right now.
playing.
Here's where I'm trying to go. Here's what I have coming up. So we're not gonna take
Mhm.
a loss at all. But we good for this long. So if something needs to change, it's gonna be about this period." But
Yeah,
that's wild. The idea that you would your child is born and you just quit. But that's the
yeah,
obedience, right? That's the obedience and the belief to say, this is the thing, right? And so I celebrate April 22nd because of 2022
that was
because
a
that's the
liberation date.
moment that to me opened up a new level of freedom. And what was most important that too was I got this small window of time where my child wants to be with me. And so I get this time. Let me spend that with her. Let me be available to pick her up and take her to school. Let me be available to go get things from the grocery store. Let me go do some extra nights, you know, staying up and bottle feeding and doing these things. Let me be present in this moment. I don't know how present my father was. I imagine he was very present, but what I imagine him to be, I want to be more than that.
Yeah,
So let me do that. And I got this window of time that I can do that. And I just believe I'm gonna be blessed on the back end for doing it. And again, it's 3 years later and I'm still good.
yep. That's so good. And as you were sharing that scripture, the Philippians 4:6 came up. I had to
Mhm,
look it up. Be anxious for
mhm,
nothing, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present
mhm.
your requests to God.
And my favorite part of that is with Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Because people will petition and say everything and completely forget to say thank you. They say thank you to the person, thank you to the pastor, thank you to God. They don't say thank you. I think in our world we just don't say thank you enough for
agreed.
what
Even the
people
small
have done.
things. Yeah,
Small stuff. And
yeah,
that's a marriage thing that I had to learn that I didn't see role modeled in my household was appreciation and thank you. And so I try to be more intentional with like, thank you for cooking that food. Thank you for
yeah.
washing those clothes. Thank you for putting your cup in the I mean in the sink. Just so we build a habit of appreciation and gratitude.
Yes, yes. That is how we keep things flowing for sure. Who are some of the people that God has sent to help you carry the weight of parenting without parents?
Oh man, let me tell my sister-in-laws are great. I don't call my sister-in-laws, they're my sisters. They're phenomenal aunties. You know, they are and that's part of the reason why we moved to North Carolina because I knew that I wasn't going back to Arkansas, but I was raised with aunts and uncles, and I wanted her to have that, and I wasn't gonna have that in Virginia.
Right.
And so, yes, that's a sacrifice. Yes, that's a shift in my wife's career. Yes, that pushed the tenure clock for her role as a professor back another year and a half. But we gain family and friends and support that have been there. So they have been a tremendous assistance. My father-in-law and the ways that he shows up has been a tremendous assistance. Again, I mentioned my aunt has been there. My cousins are that for me. Um, Friends who do and friends who don't have children have been great advisors for parenting. You know, I think the beauty of having a child in my late 30s is that I got to see everybody else's experience. Being the baby of a lot of cousins, I got to see everybody else's experience. And so I was able to learn and take from those. You know, again, when I go home, it's like I never left. And so there's this overwhelming, like it feels like a big hug from people, you know?
I love
My
that.
my people check in and they care and they like, "Yeah, we've been seeing this and do this." You know, one of my cousins, for every birthday, she makes Jalen an outfit. Like, we were just talking about this yesterday. She's like, "I need to get ready to make my outfit, so tell me what the colors are, what the theme is." She does this. This wasn't anything I asked her to do. She just does this thing, you know? And so one of the things that my mom did was, because I got so many cousins, she picked 3 that she
Mhm.
felt that could be she could trust the most and say, "These are the 3 that I want to care for you in my absence." I didn't know this, but those 3 have been there. And not the other ones haven't, but it's they weren't given the
It's different.
assignment. And so because and the one who makes the apron is in the outfits is one of those. And so because they were given the assignment, I don't have worries and stresses in that way. You know, I've been blessed to be around great people. Still to this day, just great people. Even from when I was in Virginia, I still have great people who check in and offer support. And, you know, some of our buddies are coming in this weekend. So I'm excited because I just have love. I have real love around me. I don't have to do this alone. God sent me the wife he know I needed to be not only the parent, but to be the person to be with me through that. It is hard to be with a person to watch them have to clean out their house that they grew up in, to drive 11 hours to and 11 hours back, to drive to North Carolina, to trust, like all these things, to be like, "You quitting your job and what?" And it wasn't no pushback. He knew who to send to do that. And so I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm blessed as a result of that. So I got people all around. And I got my parents, you know, they're still around, you know. They're just around in a different way. And so
Yeah.
I got the folks that I need to be here for me.
Yeah, and when you just said they're still around, I noticed earlier when you talk about your mom, you said she is. And this was
Mhm.
at the beginning of the episode, but I
Yeah.
didn't say anything, but it hit me.
Yeah.
And then you just confirmed it. You're like, yeah, they still around. So it is and is for
Mhm.
you for sure. What
Yeah.
are some spiritual or practical tools that have helped you when grief has resurfaced?
Sit still. If you're in a space where you can sit, just sit. Just sit and breathe and take a moment to just feel that. Um, the next thing is probably early on, I was journaling through a lot of things. Even now, I just discover things like I just sometimes open a book and be like, one of their items, and I'm like, well, what was in here? You know, and so that is there. Um, the biggest spiritual or life practice for me is therapy. Highly encourage people to be in therapy. Have not done grief therapy. I know that that would probably be a really good one for me to do next, even though I've had different therapists. But therapy is for me the saving thing. It allows me to
Yeah,
have space to talk through and work through different things. So those are, I would say, my biggest 3 that are by far the best things that I could do to navigate grief.
that's so good. Thank you, Justin. So then, if someone listening right now, they're overcome with grief, parenting without parents, what encouragement would you leave them with today?
Yeah, you know, the thing I would say first about grief is that it's normal. It happens. We can't predict it. We don't know how it's going to show up for us. But continue to observe the ways in which it shows up for you, but more importantly, how you respond to it and why you're responding the way you're responding to it. You know, and some people may not understand why you have that feeling in that moment, why you may feel frustrated or angry. Um, they may not understand. There will be, you know, other things that come up, especially with parenting without parents, is people will may tell you stories who may have known you for a while. I remember when you were this, and like just give room for that and allow that to be the case for them to share that. Um, and You may have been given, really, or how I wanna say this, you may have been given the instruction, but it's imperative that you actually drive yourself to your destination. Like, my parents have given me plenty of instruction around how to do things and things I observe that I would impart to my child at some point as she continues to grow and develop. But how I go about doing that is my responsibility. And it's okay to be mad sometimes. Like, I don't have all these things. And some people are parenting not because they just lost their parents, but because the absent of a parent.
Yeah,
And so, even similarly, my advice to them is that you get to be creative. You get to be creative. Forgiveness is so important. They may not have been there. They may have be gone now. They may be present and just don't want to be apart. Forgiveness is so important. They had their own lives and their own assignments, and sometimes we'll never know the things that led to their decisions or even God's decision to take them. And the longer we hold on to that anger or frustration about the version of them that we knew them to be or where they are, the longer it is for us to get to a space of healing and more importantly to receive certain blessings that are just specific and tied to your ability to navigate them not being here. And so I think that's super important for people that even counselors have worked with me through that is, so why are you still mad at the person who's not here? Why are you still holding on to this resentment around this thing? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, well, the way you just described that tells me that you still have some resentment. What is there? What do you want them to know? What do you need to tell your 7-year-old self, your middle
yes,
school self, your high school self?
yes.
What does younger Justin, younger you need to hear in this moment to allow you to feel seen, valued, heard, so that you can continue to go forward? And whatever
Even
that is,
safe.
just say it to
Yeah.
yourself. They're not
Yes.
here to say it. So you have to say it to yourself. And you have to allow yourself to receive it. It may feel awkward, and that's okay. Let it be awkward, let it be weird. But I'd rather it be weird and you get to a position where you can move positively through life than to let you hold on to that resentment. Because that resentment gonna fester into something else or carry itself over to something else. And
Which
whatever that
does.
is, don't the world don't need that. We need the best version of you, the healed version of you, and the grieving version of you, but you don't know that somebody else's ability to manage their grief may be directly connected to how they see you manage yours.
Come on.
Which is why I share stories about my mom, which is why I share stories about my mother-in-law or take pictures with my father-in-law because I want to carry forward positivity with them.
That's so good. And such a healthy outlook on loss, grief. And I really love what you said for people who their parents are physically still here, but they're not involved to not so that they don't feel further abandonment.
Mhm,
And that there is a uniqueness because it can feel that way. And sometimes that burns more because it's like you're here and you're
mhm.
choosing not to be involved or you're not, or for whatever reasons, whatever their circumstances are that their um parents haven't worked through to be able to be present for them. That was so good, Justin. You came through. I don't know who your therapist was, but
Hey,
I
I've
see
had
I
great black women
see
therapists. I've had great black women therapists.
I hear it, I see it, like, you look lighter, you're like even when I saw you, in Oct no, that was still end of September. That was end of
Mhm,
September. When I saw y'all in end of September, like, you felt lighter, like, you've always been, like, a good vibe, a good good
mhm.
energy, but, like, it felt different.
Yeah.
And so this is good and to hear it from you as well. Well, you have certainly blessed us. And so I'm going to wrap you up with our signature question. If you could leave the audience with one powerful truth to help them to rise in faith and thrive in purpose, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. What would I say to a person with that? Ah, allow opportunities to come, both the ones that you want and the ones that you don't expect. Parenting is an opportunity. Grief is an opportunity. Experiencing loss is an opportunity. Job changes are all everything we experience in life are different opportunities. So allow yourself to experience these opportunities. And more importantly, as you do, going back to the verse that you shared, give thanksgiving. Be thankful for those, right? Like some of them may not feel great in the moment, but still be thankful that you got the opportunity because you got lessons you were able to learn through all the jobs, through all the loss. There were great opportunities to learn. I learned about caregiving. I learned about cancer. I learned about wills and trust and inheritance and a lot about these things that I don't live through every day, but I am better suited because I had those experiences. And now I'm better prepared to help someone else who's also navigating those things. And in this season right now in my life, as I'm thinking about the loss of a recent fraternity brother and how people are managing that grief, I'm able to hold space to listen, to be there, and to talk about grief with people. And I don't know if prior to my parents passing, I would be able to do that.
Thank you, Justin. That was so good. Everything is an opportunity. That's a critical reframe for sure.
Mhm,
That's one for the ages. Just everything is an opportunity. I'm gonna use that. Like I think that, but to really look at everything through that lens, it's gonna hit
mhm.
different. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for that and for sharing that. Audience, this is where we shift to you. This week, I want you to reflect. Where has grief shaped me and where has God sustained me? So, this will look like writing down a few moments where you felt that ache, that absence, whether it was a milestone, a memory, a holiday, a parenting moment, or a transition, or it's just a set, an opportunity. And then reflect on the subtle and surprising ways that God has stepped in with comfort, strength, resource, and guidance. Every place where grief rises is a place where God is willing to meet you. And then we want you to take action. Take one intentional step to honor both your grief and your healing. So, this could look like writing a letter to a loved one that you lost and tell them what's happening in your life, what you're proud of, and what you wish they could see. Create that legacy moment with your children, your community, or yourself, something that reflects the values that your parents instilled in you. You can ask God for wisdom in areas of your life where their presence is missed the most. Be specific. Justin told us about the importance of specificity today.
Mhm.
Invite God to father you, to mother you, to guide you, to carry you in the places where you feel most alone. These small intentional acts cultivate healing over time. And finally, speak this over yourself this week. God is close to me in my grief. I am covered. I am guided. I am held. I parent with wisdom, strength, and love because God fills every gap. So if this conversation has challenged you, if it has affirmed you, we want you to leave us feedback. Drop some comments in here. What were some of your favorite quotes from Dr. Grimes today? What are some of those key takeaways? Share this with someone who might be in a season of grief, who's parenting without parenting. Wherever you're consuming this podcast, leave us a review, subscribe, follow, give us 5 stars if this has blessed you. We want you to join the community of people that are rising in faith and thriving in purpose and help us to continue to grow and to help others. And make sure you check out that merch. You can get it on www.evolvewithdrjnicole.com. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Dr. Justin Grimes. I want to thank you again for joining me today on Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
All right. Take care, everyone, and see you next week.